Hello, anybody with me? I can see Emma and Trist having a chat in the chat, which is a good start. Hope you can see me. I can see should be a few people joined already, and that's nice. I'm live, thank you, Claire. I'm live, I'm alive. What could be better than that? And what a beautiful day it is for a stroll in the park. So massive hello to everybody I can only see people when they say something in the chat. That's the only thing about doing it on YouTube. Hello Anne, hello Wendy, hello Emma, and hello Robin, and hello Claire and Trist. I can see everybody. Hi to all of you. And one person who's not watching in chat today.
Hi.
Donna's here in Leamington, and we've had a lovely coffee, haven't we? A very nice coffee and a good old chat. And we're going to go for a walk now. We didn't have any cake. We didn't even have ice cream today, did we? Have to have one after, yeah. They're all saying hello. And you know what seems to have been improved recently as well? Not only is there less of a delay on the chat, this problem that I had of seeing every comment twice. I don't know if other guides have found that that's got better. I know there was their Streamlabs software was updated recently, so maybe that's one of the bugs that they corrected.
See if they can spot the difference.
Yeah, who's got the hat on today? Dawn has got the hat on. Oh, Wendy can't see us. Wendy has nothing. You have nothing. Oh, Wendy, you can see us now. Oh, there we go.
Hi, Wendy.
You missed Donna. There she is. Great to see everybody. And I have to keep an eye on the time as well. That's the other thing. It doesn't give me a countdown. Just how long I've been connected. So, but hasn't it been a beautiful day today? I don't know what it's like where you all are, but it has been glorious today. I spent the entire morning sitting outside at home in the garden with Sally Jane. We were both reading our books and chilling out, and it was lovely. And then I headed over here, and we've had a lovely coffee, and it's beautiful weather, and the parks and gardens all quite busy, but it's getting towards the end of the afternoon now. Sunny there as well, Robin. Fantastic. And Wendy, you nearly came too. Oh, wow, I could have had more people in person than actually on the online watching. Wendy. Hi Beatrice. Hello, lovely to see you. And hello Mary from sunny Cornwall. It's sunny here as well. In fact, I've just got the sun in my eyes a little bit, but it's okay. No, it's okay. My glasses are keeping me fine. And actually that's good, because when we go into the park we'll be going the other way, so I'll have the sun behind me. I really do need to start using my varifocals so I don't have to go like this anymore. David had digs in Leamington, so many stories. The question is, are they suitable for one of my tours though, Wendy? That's the... David's getting volunteered for Everybody Has a Story here. We can hear about some of his antics in Leamington. Emma, you're miserable. Why? Oh, I can imagine why you might be miserable, but got to go back to work tomorrow. Yeah, I can imagine. That would be my theory, and I hope it's nothing more serious than that. Hello, Elizabeth. Nice to see you. We're not going to be. We are not going to be looking at too many properties for you today, Elizabeth. Unless you fancy sleeping under a tree on the riverbank, we're not going to be doing too much in the way of property today. And to be honest, Leamington is a place where you need a pretty hefty bank balance to be thinking about getting any property. It's a pretty expensive place to live. Robin, that's a very good way of putting it, and at least Emma's got some work to do. and you've got a new class who are a blank canvas on which you can impose your discipline and get them knocked into shape.
Oh God, oh my God.
That's what you can do. Hello Susan, nice to see you. I know, if I start wearing my varifocals, then I'll start wearing them in the winter because they're not changed colour ones. I'd have to have my sunglasses on anyway in this sunshine. But we are in a lovely spot here, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I got it scheduled so quickly, you know, because we came here and we were looking at Leamington and we thought this would be a lovely place to do a tour, and I am going to do a tour of the town, at least one, because there is quite a bit to see here. And we were walking through the gardens and I just thought, you know what, we could have just a Sunday afternoon stroll type tour where we have a look around these gardens and the park, and let's do it quickly while the trees are all still green and while the flowers are all still in bloom. And so I got it scheduled pretty quick. Emma's getting her glasses, yay! Couple of minutes to go to our start time.
Hi.
It is really warm and standing in the direct sunlight here as well. And I did well to get here. I got about a third of the way here, doing very nicely, and then the road was closed, so I had to double back and go a big circuitous route and rejoin the intended road further down. So it was a very irritating way to start the trip, but we're all good. I really can't see that now. Hello Leslie, nice to see you. How are we doing for time? Got about a minute to go. The sun is so bright, even when I do look over the top of my glasses, I can't read the screen very well, but we're going to be good. This is so nice that, you know, the other day when I was doing my tour, it was raining, and I was filming a tour for an As Live the other day and had to do it in two halves because the rain got too heavy and I had to go and shelter and then carry on filming it. So very strange, but beautiful early September day, late summer, Indian summer maybe as we call it. But let's the third tour so far today. Yeah, that's what we like to see. So let's make a start, shall we? I want to start by saying a big welcome to you all. Lovely to have you with me on this Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. here in England, and a beautiful sunny day, about, I would say, what, 25, 26 degrees, something like that, I would say. Lovely sunshine, glorious blue sky. And we are in the lovely town of Leamington Spa. Now, as you may be able to surmise from the name, Leamington Spa is a spa town. It's quite a, you know, there's been a town here for many, many centuries, but it was only in the 19th century, really, that the town started to grow, because it was a place that had some very good natural springs, and the healing properties of those springs were promoted by various local doctors, and people started to come here, and the town really took off after a visit by Queen Victoria. But she wasn't Queen Victoria at the time, she was actually Princess Victoria. And there's a lot of stories around in different towns and cities around the UK where they say, and Queen Victoria came here and she hated it and never went back there again, and put the blinds down on the royal train when it was passing through, and all these kinds of things. Well, I'm glad to say that she loved her stay here at the spa in Leamington. So much so that she bestowed upon the town, once she was monarch, she bestowed upon the town the title of Royal. So it is actually Royal Leamington Spa. And that's because she had such fond memories of her stay here in the town. Now, we are going to be exploring one particular part of the town today, and that is the Jephson Gardens. So let's go and head in that direction, shall we? And I'm going to spin around the camera. And the town is called Leamington, and it's named after this river, which is the River Lem. The River Lem, a tributary of the Avon, as most rivers that you see, smaller rivers, are in this area, because we are in Warwickshire. And the River Lem flows through here, and around the river is where the town grew up. The historic parish church is to my right, and the main Victorian town centre to the left on the opposite bank of the river. These days the town is quite a big one. It's got a population of about 95,000, and there's a lot of modern industry here, a lot of offices, a lot of tech industry, a lot of sort of light engineering. So it is quite a sort of a lot of employment here round about. It's also very close to Warwick. It's very close to Coventry, and not a million miles from Birmingham either. So we're going to be exploring the Jephson Gardens, and the Jephson Gardens is one of several parks and gardens that were created in the 19th century. So whenever you get a spa town, you know, people come there to take the waters, but you don't just drink and bathe in the waters, you also have fresh air and exercise. So there's always parks and gardens involved. And the Jephson Gardens are one of a series that are kind of strung along the side of the River Lem. And they're the earliest and probably, I think, the best kept of all. And a lot of the others are very nice parklands, but the Jephson Gardens does have a more of a formal garden element to it. And you get a kind of idea here with the entrance to the gardens, with these two beautiful pavilions that would have been where the some of the park employees would have been staying, and making sure that once upon a time, making sure that only the right people went in to the Jephson Gardens. Because when the Jephson Gardens were created in 1834, initially they were open to anybody between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. After 10 a.m. they were only open to customers of one of the nearby bathhouses. So they would be checking to make sure you were the right kind of person, and it was a ticketed entry until it came at the end of the Victorian age to be a public park under the control of the local authority. So these very grand gates here at the entrance to the Jephson Gardens, and a very nice serenade to welcome us. Now, as well as being a popular garden and park, there's a number of memorials and monuments that I'm going to show you within the park, and this is the first one. It's a fountain, although it's not actually operating at the moment. This was installed in the 1850s, and it's called the Hitchman Fountain, and it's named after a chap called John Hitchman. Now, John Hitchman was a local businessman and philanthropist, and when the gardens here were being created through the 1830s, 1840s, Hitchman put up he donated money so that local people who were poor and maybe struggling for employment at that time could be employed on very good daily rates to actually be working on the creation of the parks and the gardens. So his philanthropy played a really big role in making sure that the local people were well paid for creating the gardens, and it provided employment for the local population. And so that's why he was celebrated with a fountain and memorial within the park, the Hitchman Fountains, after John Hitchman. Now, we're going to kind of do a bit of a circuit, I think, probably more, maybe a figure of 8 around the park. go and... Now the gardens were created in several phases. So first of all, 1834, they created sort of the initial gardens close to the river here on land that had formerly been farmland that was given by, or it was leased really to a consortium of local business people who ran it as kind of a business, you know, working in conjunction with the local spa to get an entry fee from the spa customers to use the park for their exercise. And it was extended in the 1840s and over the years, and in the late 1840s was when the first lake was installed, and this is the lake here. These fountains are more modern ones. We'll see a little bit later the two main fountains date back to the 1860s. There's beautiful fountains and lake here. It is 14.6 acres in total, and there's also another kind of park adjoining it on the other side of the River Lem, which is called the Mill Gardens, and they also have a boating lake there and more of like a sports ground type park, and that kind of adds a little bit extra onto it. It is known for its beautiful floral displays, for its variety of trees particularly. There are over 140 different types of trees in the gardens. I've not memorized all of them. There is a leaflet you can get from the local visitor information where you can kind of get a list of all the trees, and they're marked on the map of where examples of those trees are in the park. But I thought that was a bit of a memory challenge even for me. The fountains, and one of the lovely things about the fountains that I've noticed is that some of the birds, particularly the gulls, sometimes the pigeons, they sort of swoop down and like almost just put their wings into the water from the fountains on a hot day, and it's really lovely. But you can guarantee that now I've said that, none of them are going to come and do it while we're standing here. Of course not. So yeah, beautiful fountains, and oh, what a great place to put the bird feeders. So we're going to be pretty safe from predators there, so hopefully that'll be nice and popular with the birds. But it doesn't actually look like it. There's a lot of spiders' webs on there. Looks like the spiders are enjoying it. Now, if I were to tell you that we're going to be talking about elephants on this tour, then you'd probably think, what, elephants? Why are we going to be talking about elephants on a tour of Leamington Spa? Well, the elephant is kind of an unofficial symbol of the town, and they're always, often when you see elephants in Leamington represented, you will see 3 of them, and that's very much the case here. And the reason that we have the elephants is because back in the 19th century there was a chap called Sam Lockhart, and Sam Lockhart was from the north of England, but he came to live in Leamington, and him and his family were involved in the circus business, and he was a elephant trainer, an animal trainer, horses initially, but then he learnt to train elephants. Whatever we think these days about having animals and elephants in circuses, that's what he did. He was associated with the famous Ringling Brothers circus, and he travelled with them in the UK and also in the US. And he made his home in Leamington, but he had 3 particular elephants that he got, and they kind of, when he wasn't on tour with the circus, they lived at his house here in Leamington. And for many years there was a rumour that one of the elephants had actually been buried in the gardens of his old house. And a few years ago there was some construction work done there, and they did actually find the remains of this elephant under the ground there, buried. But the elephants, of course, elephants like their water, and so there's a particular spot just across the River Lem which was known as the Elephant Wash. So if we look across the river there, they haven't incorporated the zoom into the Android version of this streaming software yet. But if we look across, you might be able to see somebody in a red t-shirt just on the other side of the river, and that pathway down to the river is like a slipway that boats would have used, but it's also where the elephants, Lockhart's elephants, would come down to the river to wash and to bathe and to squirt water over themselves and so on, and it became known as the Elephant Wash. And on the wall nearby there's some great street art with the elephant spraying the water around as well. So I'm not sure we want to look at naked people going in the Elephant Wash. So you probably didn't expect stories about elephants, even on one of my tours when we're coming to a park and garden in Warwickshire. But there we go. Beatrice, I don't know whether he had elephants in his house. I presume he kept them in the garden or in a barn or something. They lived at his house. I don't think they lived actually inside the house. Although, who knows, you know. The one who sings is Elephant Gerald. Oh, Robin! And down to the river, into the river. They did, Emma, very good. Emma gets a big tick for getting the Springsteen lyric in the chat there. So here's a lovely little floral display. For the Leamington in Bloom project, which is just a and they've done it in the form of a train here. Isn't that lovely? Now the Jephson Gardens generally was, you know, it really had its heyday in the Victorian age, its first heyday, and over the 20th century it was still an important kind of resource and leisure facility for the people of the town. But over time it kind of got a little bit dated and fell into a little bit of decline. But in the early 2000s, the local authority got a big grant from our National Lottery Heritage Fund, and that enabled them to, along with getting some local investment and donations, to really restore the park to its former glory. And that happened in 2003. And part of that was the creation of beautiful glass house. And we're going to go into there. So if my glasses steam up or my lens steam up, no, it's not that hot. It's a subtropical glass house. So we've got definitely kinds of plants that you would not expect to see in England, probably. But this was just something extra that they added to the park, to the gardens in 2003, to give it a really, just a lovely different kind of feature for the modern visitors to enjoy. It's lovely here with the water, and the rocks, the flowers. Oh, it is warm in here actually. It's not humid though. It's not a not like a real, one of the real tropical houses at Kew or something where your glasses steam up straight away. It's not quite that much, but it is quite warm in here. Water there, and doesn't the water sound lovely? Water flowing down, isn't that great? I would say normally a greenhouse would be where something was going to grow, but a glass house is just more of a general term for somewhere like this where they're not really, specifically growing things to cultivate them. They're just, you have what's growing in here. Lovely. I don't know the difference, to be honest. Susan, I'm not sure that they were actually naked people. I think they were maybe wearing swimming gear. But certainly they were not, I think it's safe to say they weren't fully clothed. You got one? Mango tree. Oh, any mangoes on there? That's a shame. Got a fresh mango, would have been nice. Nice. They're lovely. These are just really normal trees, and then these things are, you feel like these are a bit Jurassic Park, I think. With the dinosaurs. Also in this building, as well as the subtropical house here, there's a function room that can be used for events, wedding receptions, corporate events, and there's also a restaurant and cafe as well. Oh, he's a nice, look at him. He's a nice cactus. Look at them. Look at these. I don't know what he is, but he's a nice. I do like them. Oh, mangoes. Mangoes into a pub. Oh, there are some tiny ones. There's a tiny mango I can see on there. Some tiny, tiny mangoes. I suspect they're not ripe yet. There's the water. Lovely. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's make our way out, because it is getting a little bit warm in here, and there's quite a few people as well. So, and like a lot of places, the park in recent years has been making a big effort to promote the well-being of wildlife, particularly pollinators, bees and other insects. And specifically this garden is planted specifically with flowers and plants that will be particularly popular with pollinators and other insects. The bug garden. Oh yeah, the bug garden. Crocodile. I don't think there were definitely no crocodiles in there. I'm 100% sure. My glasses didn't steam up sufficiently that I thought there were crocodiles in there. I've got a lovely view here between the trees, back down to the fountains on the lake there. So So, Robin, did you say somebody you knew had a mango tree, but they never gave you any? That's very mean, I think. It actually reminds me of a funny story. Sally Jane and I went on holiday quite a long time ago now, to Italy. And in Sorrento, we stayed in a beautiful little kind of private hotel, bed and breakfast type place. And like a lot of places around that area, they had lemon tree in the garden. And they used it to make various things with, including limoncello liqueur. But the guy used to have a big pole, and he would reach over the wall and he would knock down the lemons from the tree in the neighbouring garden, which was a big expensive hotel. And he used to tell us that they were the best lemons because they were 5-star lemons, because they were from the hotel's tree. Beautiful. This is an extension of the bug garden here. Pollinators would love them. I can see a few bees on the flowers there. Fantastic. Now let's go and see a couple of memorials, shall we? Because there are a couple of them here that are particularly okay. So this again, another fountain that's not switched on, although it seems to have been switched on because it does have dripping water on it. This is called the Czech Memorial Fountain, and it is a memorial to the members of what was known as the CFA, the Czech Free Army. And the Czech Free Army were a group of people in World War II who obviously when Czechoslovakia was invaded and occupied by the Nazis, they escaped. They had a government in exile, and members of their armed forces, young men, after the defeat of Czechoslovakia, they came over to the UK and they formed kind of a military regiment called the Czech Free Army, and it was based here in Leamington Spa, and they fought alongside the Allied forces during the rest of the war in all three of the armed services, the Navy, the Army and the Air Force. Czech pilots flew alongside Royal Air Force pilots here in the UK. And this memorial commemorates the activities and the sacrifices of the Czech Free Army, and also specifically 7 of their soldiers whose names are actually listed on the memorial itself, who were part of a special mission in which they were parachuted into Czechoslovakia, so back into their homeland, to assassinate Reinhard Heydrich, who was the Nazi commander in Czechoslovakia and was one of the most senior figures that there was in the entire Nazi movement. He was kind of widely sort of thought to be a potential successor to Adolf Hitler should one be needed. So those very brave young men set off from Leamington and went back, parachuted into their homeland to assassinate Heydrich, part of a successful mission. And I think they made it into a film within the last couple of years. They made a film about that thing, and their names are, I can get quite close actually because it's not going to get wet. Joseph Bublik, Jan Kubis, just some of them there. And we've got the I'm in a bit in the sun, so I'm trying not so my shadow's not on it completely. Now this is a particularly important memorial because this is a memorial to the man after whom these gardens are named. They were not originally named after him. Dr. William Jephson was around in Leamington when the gardens were laid out, but they were laid out on farmland that had belonged to a family called the Wills family. But about 20 years later, they were renamed after Dr. William Jephson. And Dr. William Jephson was important for Leamington for two reasons. One, he was the leading doctor and local figure who was promoting the health-giving properties of Leamington's waters. So he was very instrumental in the growth of Leamington as a spa town, which is what it became known for, what made it into the town that it is today. He was also a very important benefactor of the town and spent a lot of his own personal fortune in having housing built for poorer members of Leamington's community. So he was a very, very highly regarded man in the local community, and the gardens were renamed in his honour. And this memorial, this sort of temple, and it has a lovely, beautiful white marble statue of him inside, which is by an artist called Peter Hollins, who was from Birmingham. And hopefully we can get a good look. I can't really see. The sun is shining so brightly on my screen. I hope you can get a bit of a look at William Jephson there. It's the man after these, that these gardens are named after. Well, look at that. Somebody's thrown their ball for their dog and it's got stuck inside the temple. Come on, William, get down off your plinth. I think you should throw that back. Come on. He's been standing there a long time. He should need a bit of exercise by now. Oh, these steps are steep. Dr. Henry Jephson, sorry. Oh, I'm always careful on steps, Claire. Doesn't always make a blind bit of difference. I can be as careful as you like and I'll still fall. So one of the more modern additions to the garden, we're going to go and have a little wander around. The sensory garden. Obviously there are some of the senses that are not going to be so stimulated when you're watching it on YouTube, but hopefully we can get a little feel for it. Go into the sensory garden. The sensory garden is for all of the senses, so they have plants that are particularly interesting to smell. There's a lot of very aromatic plants. There are plants that are good to touch, not the roses, and there are plants, even plants, herbs, culinary herbs, and some plants with fruits on them which are for taste, and of course the beauty of the bright colours and the flowers as well. So here we got this is the taste section. What have we got? Let's have a look.
Oh no, where is Liam gone?
One of them. Not very ripe. No, that's not very ripe. There are, I see a couple of ripe ones. Quite late in the season for these, but so feast for the senses. Has that been closed off? That's the... Well, that should be the music one. Oh, that's been locked up. That was a glockenspiel when I came to check this toy out. I was looking forward to playing you a little tune. Well, perhaps playing you a little tune might be a bit of an exaggeration. I was looking forward to playing you some notes, which, as any musician would tell you, does not necessarily make a tune. Now, one of the other memorials in the garden is the clock tower, which was installed in 1903, and that is dedicated to a man by the name of William Davis. And William Davis was 3 times the mayor of Leamington, and another man who gave a lot of great public service to this town, and was therefore celebrated in the naming of that clock tower within the park here. What a beautiful setting. There's really lots of lovely aromatic plants. I can smell all kinds of lovely aromas, and some of them have a lovely texture as well, for like a furry texture on the leaves. It's definitely not the poison garden. Now, there's a lovely little tea room in the Jephson Gardens. It was opened in 1899, and later it was converted into an aviary. So it became quite of a, in the 20th century, the early 20th century particularly, it became quite a popular thing for parks and gardens in towns to have exotic birds in aviaries, and it was very much the case here. And for a number of years, the old tea room here in the garden was an aviary, but then as part of it fell into a bit of a disrepair. It sort of stopped being an aviary, but nobody really did anything with it. But then, as part of the 2003 restoration work, it was beautifully restored, and now it's a coffee shop and a lovely place to get a snack and a drink. It's a lovely little building, isn't it? The aviary kiosk now. Really very typical Victorian spot. And we also get a lovely view here of, oh, I see an ice cream run there, Dawn, over, bear that in mind. The clock tower again from another angle, but with some lovely examples of Spa Town architecture in the background. These very, very grand early 19th century buildings that made up the Spa Town. And we will do a tour on another occasion where we focus a little bit more on the Spa Town itself. And I wanted to enjoy a late summer Sunday stroll. That's what we wanted to do today. So where can we go here? We go down to the river. You can see it's really popular with local people, as I'm sure this weekend particularly, you know, all the kids going back to school this week, they're probably having, you know, it's one last nice family day in the park in the sunshine before all the kids have to go back to school. Susan, I agree, the weather could not have been any better, could it? A little bit of a family art installation here. One of the local artists they've created this kind of colourful installation, and the idea is that people can climb on it, play on it, add little bits to it themselves. The idea is to get kids and families down here and just get them to engage a little bit with the art. Summer spot season, Julia Snowden. They've done all kinds of little kind of activities here, painting and drawing activities, stories. The idea you can, you know, stand under the different coloured discs with the light shining through them. They're kind of translucent, so people kind of look, get the different colours of their faces and take their photos and things. So it's really just designed to get people engaged with this artwork and to oh, it might tree dedicated to people. It tells what time of tree it is. No. Some of the trees have been planted with dedications to different people, benefactors and so on. But a lot of different types of trees and different types of gardens as well, from the pollinator garden, the sensory garden, a bit of a rockery garden here. It's lovely to have somewhere like this that is just a public space in the town as well. It's right in the centre of town. It's literally a 2-minute walk from the main shopping area. It's a few minutes from the main railway station. There's plenty of ways to get here. There's no entry charge. It's a perfect thing to have as a public resource, really, and it has won quite a few awards since it was redeveloped in 2003. I think on 2 occasions it has been voted Britain's best park, and it has for 12 consecutive years had the green flag, which is the kind of quality standard for well-maintained and well-managed parks and gardens. And it also has been designated as Green Heritage by the organisation English Heritage, so mainly English Heritage. They concern themselves with things that have been created like buildings and historic structures, but they also look after some landscapes, and they have a designation of Green Heritage, and Jephson Gardens has been included in that category as well. So beautiful houses here. And one of the reasons I wanted to get this tour scheduled so soon, when I came and looked around here the other week, as I said, is because I wanted to bring you here whilst all of these flowers were still in bloom, and what really convinced me of that was this main kind of formally planted area with the beautiful flower beds here. I used a photo of it on the website when I was promoting this, and this is just a beautiful set of plantings here with everything still going on. Oh, gorgeous, aren't they? Really lovely. I think quite a patriotic colour scheme for this year when we had the coronation of a new monarch, only fitting in a town bearing the royal designation with the red, white and, well, okay, purple, but kind of blue. But I'm sure that's the sentiment behind the particular choice of colour scheme for this particular summer. Aren't these beautiful? Robin, it looks like a beautiful place to have a picnic, doesn't it? These formal plantings are great. Takes you back to the 50s and 60s. It's very much, I definitely know what you mean. I mean, I wasn't around in the 50s and 60s, but it does have that feel of very much like an old school public park and garden of the kind you don't really seem to find anymore, with the aviary tea room and the subtropical house and these beautiful planted beds here and the fountains, and really is just a, an archetypal kind of blue flowers there are not many blue flowers, certainly not ones that you could plant in a scheme like this that would last from early summer when the coronation was right up until into September. You'd be really struggling. So I think you have to leave a little bit to the imagination. And I miss the obelisk. Let's get a view with the obelisk in as well. And the obelisk we can see there, that is a memorial that's called the Wills obelisk, and that was installed also in the 1840s when the park was kind of enlarged and started to take on the form that we sort of still see today. And it's dedicated to the Wills family, who were the landowners who this space originally belonged to. Oh, Robin, that's really good if the parks have been given a rejuvenation, and certainly the case that happened here. And I know that this park with the formal gardens is kind of the jewel in the crown here in Leamington, but there's a whole series. If you were to go across the road from the gates where we came in, you would be in the Pump Room Gardens, and then beyond that there's another garden, the Victoria Park. So for a couple of miles really, you have along the edge of the river, you have all of this land that would probably once have been just kind of meadows, grazing lands close to the river, where they've made into these public parks. And so it is really fortunate. And I do have a friend who lives in Leamington, and she was, I think people were quite jealous of her during the pandemic, because she had such beautiful places. We were allowed to go out for our one walk a day during the most strict phase of the lockdown, and she was able to come down here into the Jephson Gardens and the Pump Room Gardens for her one daily walk. And so that was a source of great jealousy for many of other people who knew her, I think. So we have done a full circle, and we are back at the entrance to the park. So we're going to go back out through the gates, and ahead of us we can see the Royal Pump Room and Baths, which is these days a theatre and concert venue, has the tourist information, and also a nice cafe as well. And that will feature when we do our tour of the town. And I'm also planning to do another tour, because I discovered when I was looking into getting some information for today that there is actually a street art trail in Leamington, and I thought that would be actually a pretty cool place to do a street art tour. So I'm planning to maybe have a look at doing that one for a tour quite soon, and then to do more of a history of the Spa town tour as well. So we're going to be getting to know the town quite well, and it's always nice to come to a new place where we can enjoy a few nice tours and exploring. And I hope you have enjoyed exploring the Jephson Gardens today. I'm going to go and stand somewhere where I can actually read my screen, but where I can still, that should be okay here. And here we are. So thank you so much to everyone. Quite not the longest tour today, but I wanted to show you the Jephson Gardens as a separate tour, because I thought, if we just went into there for a little part of a bigger tour, I don't think it would be doing justice to the gardens. At the same time, if you try to do justice to the gardens, then you take away a big chunk of time where you could be looking at other interesting stuff in the town. So why not make more than one tour out of it? So hope you agree with me that it's a beautiful place to go for a stroll on a Sunday afternoon, to enjoy the gardens and the park, and just being part of sort of the atmosphere of the town with all the local people enjoying that lovely space as well. So thank you very much for joining me. It's been great to see you all. Have a couple more tours coming up this week. I have 2 As Live tours, and I can't for the life of me remember where they are. Iron Bridge on Wednesday at 9 p.m. UK time. I've done my Iron Bridge series once before, but I thought it was a great time to do it again, and because it's a fascinating place. So it's the first of a series of 3. That's on Wednesday, and on Thursday evening is another new place where I've not taken you before. Is a lovely town called Ross-on-Wye, which is down in Herefordshire towards the Welsh border. A beautiful market town on a hilltop, so there's some great views down over the valley of the River Wye and over towards Wales, and it's a really fascinating town with some very interesting stories as well. So hopefully you can join me for some of those tours. I'll be putting some more up on the calendar in the next couple of days for the next week or so. So have a wonderful rest of your Sunday and a great start to the week, whatever you're doing. And I will see you very soon. And bye from us here in Leamington. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.